Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. We're jumping over to Foundations Jumpstart today for a bit of fun with Aphelia, Viper Whisperer, 1 and a black for a 1/3 Gorgon Assassin with Death Touch. And whenever Aphelia attacks, you may pay 1 and hybrid black-green. If you do, create a 1/1 black snake creature token with Death Touch. So that's pretty good, because no one's really going to block Aphelia because of the Death Touch thing until they need to. So you're always going to get your snake, which gives you another Death Toucher. But more importantly, 4 and a black until the end of turn. Whenever 1 or more gorgons and/or snakes you control deal combat damage to a player, that player loses half their life rounded up. Yeah, Aphelia does become a problem once you get to that magic number, to be fair, because people will get upset with you very quickly and they will put things in way of your Death Touches, and then they will lose them, or they will lose half their life, which could be pretty dangerous with one of the cards we have in here. So here we go for today's deck. Hope you enjoy this one as much as the other ones this week. Okay, yeah, 40 creatures. There's a lot of creatures in this deck. I decided to have some fun with this and go a bit heavy on the creatures for a change. So, because there's a lot of snakes, believe it or not. There's a few creatures in here that aren't snakes or gorgons, I'll be honest, but most of them are snakes and gorgons. So, Ankle Biter has Death Touch. Birds of Paradise help us ramp, because we want to get up to that 5 mana to activate Aphelia's second ability, just above me here. Then we have Fang of Shingeki, another snake ninja, that's an enchantment with Death Touch. The first of the non-gorgons or snakes is here, his Gold Vein Hydra's here, and I just like sinking mana into this and then getting the treasure tokens when it dies. It really does help with this deck. Going old school with Hex Drinker, doing the whole protection from everything. Hopefully once we can get to level 8 or above, that just means you're always going to get through for 6, and someone is always going to be losing half their life total. But you need to get there as quickly as possible with this. So I have played this when I have 9 mana kicking around, and just played it and then spent all the rest of my mana levelling up to level 8, and my opponents have sat there and go, Moss Viper, another snake with Death Touch, and then we have Ambush Viper, has Flash and Death Touch. Bamboo Grove Archer, Defender and Reach. It is a snake. It's not really going to attack, but it does have the ability of the channel to destroy target creature with flying, which is something this deck is a little bit weak on, so hence why it's here. Fanatic of Ronus, the Snake Druid, tap for an extra green, or if we've got a creature with power 4 or greater, we get to get 4 mana, which basically means Aphelia, once we get there, is great. Finn the Fangbearer. Yeah, I thought I'd have a Beardy's backup win condition in poison counters, because our Death Touch creatures then chuck around 2 poison counters every time they get through. The Hooded Hydra is here. We will play this for X as big as possible to get as many snake creature tokens as we can when it dies. Lotus Cobra, a bit of a no-brainer for the extra mana it produces. Naga Vitalist. Nagas have been edited all to snakes now, so we're aware. So this version, and the one on MtGO says Creature Snake Druid, and then we get to tap it to add 1 mana add to your mana for 1 mana of any type that a land you control could produce. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's just a ramp spell for 2 mana. Steve is here. By Steve, you'll go in the graveyard really quickly, go and get some land. Shigeki Jukai Visionary is also in. We can play it or channel it, depending on what we want to do. Channeling is probably better to return the non-legendary cards when things get killed off. Really still don't understand why Tower Winder was printed at 2 mana. Reach Death Touch 1/1, and when it comes in, you get to go and search our library or graveyard for a card named Command Tower, reveal it, and put it in our hand. So this will always go and find our Command Tower. Okay. Blex, the Vexing Pest, is also in. It pumps up all our snakes quite happily, and when this dies we get 4 life, or we can do the search for Blex if we need to, but we're going to play it as the legendary creature pest side of it just to pump up everything else. Naga, Harrier Naga is also in. 3/3, is now a snake, that's fine. Hooded Blight Fang, Death Touch, whenever a creature you control with Death Touch attacks, each opponent loses 1, we gain 1. And then whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals damage to a Planeswalker, we get to kill the Planeswalker off. That's nice, because with Oran Viper, deals combat damage to a creature, destroy that creature, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you get to draw a card. Frika, gives the snakes, we exile things from graveyards, we get snake creature enchantment tokens, that's fine. Prowling Sauropod can't be countered, 4/3, means all our creature spells can't be countered as well, so everything I've talked about and everything that's coming can't disappear, be countered anyway. Raman Excavator, we have a few search lands coming up, so this will help us replay them to just thin our deck out and get our lands out of the way. Shizuku, Caller of Autumn, be careful with this one. I'll be honest, at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player adds 3 green to their mana pool. This mana doesn't cause mana burn. Until the end of turn, this mana doesn't empty from the mana pool of the player. So you're going to give them 3 free mana they can keep forever, so be careful. But there's a 2/3 Snake Shaman that will give you a bit of fun in games to make sure you can hit the 5 mana for Aphelia on your next turn, assuming you haven't died by then. So be careful playing this. Unstoppable Slasher is obviously not a snake or a gorgon, but whenever it deals combat damage they lose half their life rounded up, and if it dies and it had no counters on it, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with 2 stun counters, so it always comes back until they kill it when the stun counters are on it. Vraska, the Silencer, from the Outlaws set comes in, Death Touch, whenever a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, we can pay 1, and that comes onto the battlefield under our control as a treasure. That's fine. The combo. If an opponent would lose life during your turn, they lose twice that much life instead. Yeah. So they lose half their life. That's doubled up to them losing all their life. If I've read it correctly, I believe it works. Yeah, Bloodletter of Alcazar in this deck is an instant kill once you have Aphelia in this in play. Believe me, it really is. Enduring Tenacity, whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Not much life gain in the deck, but it is a snake that's a 4/3 and gives people second thoughts occasionally. Reaper of the Wilds, and whenever another creature dies we get to scry, gains Death Touch, or you can give it Hexproof depending on what we need to do, but it's only one of the few Gorgons in the deck that's worth playing. Suzuku's Son of Shizoro gives all our snakes +1/+0, and warrior creatures destroy whenever a warrior you control deals combat damage to a creature, destroy that creature at the end of the combat. It's not that many warriors, but the +1/+0 is quite nice for all the snakes we have. Ikrishirik, the Observer, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to play, and you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. So we do have a little bit of life gains, we do have a little bit of things happening with the Enduring Tenacity, but we have to have this in play and it's a little bit difficult to play. Oran Frostfang gives all our attacking creatures Death Touch. Yeah, don't need to say any more than that, do I? No, you know what happens with this. Yeah, okay. Freaker's Mender lets us get something back from one of the creatures that's been killed off back from our graveyard to our hand, or an enchantment if we need to. So DC just lets us go and get the card we need, because we just sack something off to do it. Orica Soul Arriva has ninjutsu. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure token and manifest the top card of that player's library. Oh, okay then. Thanks. Shaki, Mother of Summer. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, add that much green to your mana pool. This doesn't cause mana burn until the end of the turn. This mana doesn't empty from your mana pool as phases end. Spot the old cards from Betrayers, can't you, where they're still talking about mana burn that doesn't exist for quite a while now. Anyway, Shizaro the Anointed, +2/+2 for all our snakes, and snakes deal combat damage to a player, means we draw cards. Another Gorgon appears, Vizara the Dreadful, because why wouldn't we want not to destroy creatures just by tapping them and not paying any mana? Dread Norm also appears. We can do the instant adventure bit to put some +1/+1 counters on target creature, untap it, it gains hexproof, which is nice. And then the 7/6, it can't be blocked by creature with power of 3 or less. Okay then. And finally, the last Gorgon, Sisters of Stone. Target creature blocks Sisters of Stone this turn if able. Remove from the game target creature blocking or blocked by Sisters of Stone. And then 2 and a black, put a creature card removed from this game with Sisters of Stone Death into play under your control. Very expensive at 8 mana, but the abilities will let us dominate the game at some stage during it, I am sure. Garrick's here just to help us get the lands out and untap things. No other real reason for having Garrick here, although the overrun bit -4 may be relevant later in the game if we get there. Spells, the usual selection of ramp spells. We've got Farseek here. Nature's Law, Rampant Growth 3, Visit, Cultivate, Search for Tomorrow, Venture Forth. That covers them, they're all ramp. And then we've got Heroic Intervention to protect everything. We've got Putrefy for a bit of targeted removal of annoying artifacts or creatures. We have Damnation to control the board. We have Season of the Lost to get all our little pools of energy. I don't know, I suppose I had to do pools instead of energy because it would have been silly. Each player sacrifices a creature, draw a card for each creature you control that died this turn, and then each opponent loses X life where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Okay then, we'll do the 3 and maybe a couple of 1s, or maybe 1, 2 and then 3 1s. I don't know, we'll work it out, but it works. Shamanic Revelation, just to give us some life card draw, maybe some life gain if we've got some creatures with 4 or more, because Season of Gathering helps us get there with some of the creatures with 4 or more power by chucking around a whole load of +1/+1 counters to give things Vigilance and Trample until the end of turn. Or we can just blow up all the artifacts or enchantments, or we can just draw cards. I would imagine it'll be a lot of 1 pulls with this one for the Season of the Gathering going forward. Ramp wise, artifacts, not much ramp. We didn't, because we're playing green, we've got all the land search stuff like Cultivate and what have you. We only went with Tantalite, the Talisman, the Soul Ring, the Arcade Signet and Talisman of Resistance. Elixir of Immortality's in because 40 creatures in the deck probably means we are going to have to shuffle things in at some stage when they've died off. And one of the good cards, Snake Basket, going old school from Visions. X sacrifice Snake Basket, put X Cobra tokens into play, treat these tokens as 1/1 green creatures. It now says they're not Cobras anymore, they're now snakes, which makes perfect sense really. And so yeah, whole load of snakes that you can attack with Aphelia and then try and get them to lose half their life rounded up. Could be fun. Enchantment wise, Sylvan Scavenging, because I like chucking around the +1/+1 counters and the Raccoons help. I did and ah about having this as the Bastion of Remembrance, the 3 mana black one that gives you a 1/1 white soldier. When your creature dies, draw, everyone loses 1, you gain 1. That's another possibility, you could replace that with this, but I just like Sylvan Scavenging at the moment, so it's here. And the Funeral Room and the Awakening Room does give you that ability that I was talking about, so whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1, we gain 1. And then if we can unlock the Awakening Hall, whenever you unlock this door, return all creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. So, you do have one way of returning everything. Lands wise, 36 lands, the usual selection, obviously Command Towers here to go and search. Field of the Dead, give us some more zombies to help us block things around. Yavimaya, Urborg, Underground Mortuary, you name it, they're all here. With Search Lands, with Reliquary Tower. Didn't play Temple of the False God, but I did play Reliquary Tower. So yeah, that's kind of the land base, and that's it. That's my take on Aphelia for the day. I hope you've enjoyed it. I don't think I've missed anything out. I may be a little bit heavy on creatures. You may want to look at it, but I like playing creatures, and having lots of things going around gives my opponent a few little headaches to keep track of what I'm doing. You won't see this one on stream yet. We've still got to wait for the 11th of December to hit, when hopefully Daybreak Games get these uploaded to MTGO, so we can start playing some of the Foundation Jumpstart decks. But I figured it's worth still covering it this week, because I know people are starting to pick these cards up, and I do like this one. It is good fun from my point of view. So for now, let me know in the comments down below if there's anything I've missed out. Hit the subscribe button if you can, really appreciate that. Take me past 556, that'd be fantastic. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with the last legend from the main set that I haven't covered yet. So for now, take care, have fun, see you tomorrow, bye.